investors are a bit tired from talking to founders that can't really put words on or explain the value they want or they see in their business.
The most exclusive part of the business law.
And we're back, and we're going to talk about the value of a startup today. And as I see it, there's two types of value. The emotional part, and also the market value. And when I say the emotional part, I mean, if I have a startup and I've been working 24/7, it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and it feels like you're getting nowhere. And the emotional value of your company due to your hard work, it feels like it's worth a lot more than the market would say. So how do I know what's the right way to value your startup?
Well, first of all, the emotional value is a value.
Yes.
It's completely fine. It's like my wedding ring. The value for me might not be the value for you, right? That's okay. But like you yourself, you're insinuating, the market value, the investors will not care.
No, of course not.
So the problem is, how do we get across? How do we bridge the potential gap, right? So first of all, you need to be mindful that the investor will not care, because that's actually a big problem. And you should be aware that investors and lawyers like myself and financial advisors might come with a preconception, an idea about founders and entrepreneurs being naive and having this vision about their company, having this huge value, and they're going to reach all kinds of successes. But when you kind of try to knock a bit on it, they don't have any substance. There's no foundation for it. So be aware that many investors are a bit tired from talking to founders that can't really put words on or explain the value they want or they see in their business. And that's the harsh reality, because it might hurt you even though you're not one of them.
Yes, but how should you think in that case? I mean, should you try to distance yourself emotionally and just try to think the entrepreneur side of it, or how do you manage?
That's perfect. I would say that there's 2 steps. Number 1, the actual value. What is it? The assets. What do you have in your company? Is it a great business idea? Is it an innovation? Is it fantastic revenue that's very stable? Is it you, the founder, the know-how? Can you be extremely concrete? And all of those building blocks, do they in total amount to the value you want to ascribe to your company? So be concrete and be hard on yourself so that you really can explain it for an investor, right?
Yes.
And the second part, so number 1, the value, the assets. What is it that has the value that you're going for? And that can be really hard, in particular early on in a startup, of course. So it can be a prognosis, that's okay, but as long as you really think it through. The second part, that's about risk, because the investor will want to know that the value exists in some form, and they want to minimize risk. So you need to put yourself in the investor's shoes and think about what risks are they there and how can I minimize them. It can be, for instance, that your company is super easy to copy, that you have nothing really that you can protect. Or it can be that your company is only based on you and your knowledge. So if you fall ill tomorrow, the company will not even be able to open.
And that's a big risk.
Yeah. So really think from the investor perspective.
Yeah, but is it possible that a lot of startup people say no to investors because they value it a lot less than if I could, let's say I want to sell my company or take in investors, I would value my company 2 million, let's say. And the investors say, yeah, but it's only worth like 1. And then I could say, no, then I don't want you to be around here.
Well, in my experience, in my 50 years, I would say that most typically it's not the founders say no, but rather that you cannot bridge the gap. You cannot agree, and it ends up in frustration and both parties walking away. Most typically it will be the investor, but you simply you cannot communicate with each other, and that's very, very, very common.
So a tip will be to, if you want to take in investors, don't be too emotional connected to your business if you want to fly.
Yeah, exactly. Or accept that you have an emotional value and skip the investment. Thank you, Rich.
Thank you. And don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. And if you have any more questions, please drop them down below.